Okay, I'm joined by Sam Morton from Old Trafford. You look as though you're in the players tunnel there, Sam, at Old Trafford. A great performance from Brighton, a 3-1 victory, and I imagine there's quite a few happy Brighton fans around at Old Trafford.
Absolutely, it was a brilliant day for Brighton. Really, the fans were in fine voice all afternoon, really, and the goals only helped that. And it was an end-to-end game, really, for much of the first half. It could have gone either way, and it was Brighton that opened the scoring through Danny Welbeck against his former club again. He does love a goal against Man United, and he doesn't hold back in his celebrations either. So yeah, that was exactly what Brighton needed, really, and suddenly Man United were nervy, and there was so many gaps for Brighton to exploit, really, and they obviously did concede, Brighton, when Højlund put the ball in the back of the net, but obviously had the reprieve from VAR through Rashford knocking the ball out of play, and it was obviously very unfortunate from a Man United perspective, but the opposite for Brighton, and it was almost like a goal for them, really, and it gave them the kind of the opportunity to go and grab a second goal after the break, and it was a brilliant goal from Pascal Gross. He sent Martinez completely the wrong way, and it was a lovely goal to make it 2-0. And yeah, it was just a perfect performance, really, from Brighton, who nullified most of the threat that Man United posed. And Rashford was obviously lively, but he didn't have his shooting boots on at all today. So a fine win for Brighton, and just more goals. I think the goals are a guarantee almost in Albion's games this season, and top scorers in the league, 15 so far. So it can't really have gone much better. I think, apart from the West Ham game, was the only blip, really, and apart from that, it's almost been faultless.
Yeah, very, very good performance again, and a few new players in the team. Lamptey was back in, wasn't he? Modahoud was started in the central midfield as well, and also Simon Adingra as well. He started as well. I thought Lamptey looked particularly good, didn't he, down in the fullback role?
Yes. Yeah, and Lamptey was obviously playing in an unfamiliar left-back position today, but he had a bit of a rocky start. He got an early booking, and he thought he might be walking on eggshells from then on, but it wasn't like that at all. And really, Man United didn't put him under enough pressure as they maybe should have done, really, when he was on a booking. And he really looked dangerous going forward every time he went forward, and he grabbed 2 assists in that second half. It was a nice little pass to Gross for 2-0 that kind of deceived the defenders. And then the third goal was a superb run down the left and a perfect cross to João Pedro, who made no mistake with the finish. So yeah, really good performance from Lamptey, and so good to see him back. Yeah,
almost like a new signing, isn't he, coming back in? And Modahoud as well. He looks a silky smooth player as well, isn't he? He looks look quite good in midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. He just settles in so well, keeps things ticking over really nicely, and does the job really well. And nothing too spectacular, nothing extravagant, but just does the basics really well, and really helps Brighton to kind of control that midfield as they did so well today.
Yeah, no, it's good to see, and the strength they have now coming off the bench as well. So they had João Pedro came on, he got his goal. Ansu Fati came on for his debut as well, and then Evan Ferguson as well. It's so strong, isn't it? Like, he made 6 changes initially, and then they bring these players on off the bench as well. It looks really promising.
Yeah, I actually asked that question to De Zerbi in the press conference just now. Asked about how much of a difference that squad depth really makes this season. It's something they didn't have really last year. And going into the European competition, the Europa League this season, having that squad depth and so many players to bring on, it's incredible, really.
Yeah.
You could really say today they played their B team, and they still outclassed Man United at Old Trafford, and had these players to come off the bench. And Ansu Fati so nearly scored. It was an absolutely incredible pass from Billy Gilmore.
Yeah, he had a chance.
Another sub. Yeah. And he so nearly made it 4. It was actually a really good save from Onana. It would have been an incredible start for Fati, but either way, really a perfect day. Just a shame they conceded that goal at the end there. It seemed like they switched off after the third. And they just can't seem to keep a clean sheet this season.
No
matter how many goals they score.
Yeah, I bet that irritates De Zerbi, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it must do, really. Because I know it doesn't really matter in the scheme of things, but just as a perfectionist that De Zerbi is, you would imagine that he would like to get a clean sheet eventually. But I'm sure it won't be too long, because I think both against Newcastle and Man United, it was just a lapse of concentration for that one moment after they've gone in the lead by 2 or 3 goals, and then they just kind of switch off which is understandable. I think with the obviously everything's on a high, and you kind of maybe understand a little switch off. But obviously, as the season goes on, you need to keep things tight in those moments.
Yeah, yeah. Brighton look like one of the best teams in the Premier League at the moment. They can't win this year. They're not. Are they title contenders?
I mean, I actually asked the Serbi as well if they were top 4 contenders, and he remained quite coy on that. He didn't really say either. He didn't really say kind of either way. Obviously, he keeps his cards close to his chest. But if you're being, I mean, really, really giddy about it, you could say that. I think with Brighton are, as you say, one of the best teams in the league at the moment, if not the best performing team at the moment. And with the squad depth they have, you just never know. I think Man City haven't looked their free-flowing self so far this season. Obviously, they're scraping away wins, but at some point you expect them to really step on the pedal. But yeah, you never know. I think Brighton do look amazing at the moment.
Yeah. And you touched on it earlier, but just a quick word on the supporters. Isn't it really? They've got the Europa League game on Thursday. They go into these big teams. They beat Newcastle just before the international break. They've just gone to Old Trafford, comfortably beat them 3-1. It's the best time ever to be a Brighton fan, isn't it? Simply.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's incredible, really, the journey the club's been on, from where they were in League One now to flying high in the Premier League and putting teams to the sword, and just to beat Man United at Old Trafford could seem an amazing achievement, but it's something Brighton have done many times before. They seem to be completely dominant over Man United in recent seasons. Even in the Wembley, the FA Cup game when they lost on penalties, they probably deserved to win that one as well. So it really is incredible, the journey Brighton have been on, the season they've had so far, and all may it continue, really. Yeah.
And just a quick word on Manchester United. They've had a lot of off-field field troubles, haven't they? What did you make of their team? There were a few boos going around, weren't there, when Erik ten Hag substituted Hodgson towards the end. What were United like?
Yeah. They started well. They looked like they were really trying to put things right after a difficult week off the pitch that obviously followed the defeat against Arsenal. They really needed a win today to boost confidence, boost morale. They looked like they really were going for it in that first 15 minutes. They really came out of the blocks, but that Welbeck goal completely knocked the stuffing out of them, really. And there were a few bright moments. Obviously, the disallowed goal that Højlund scored, and he was one of the best players for United today. He looked really, really sharp and held the ball up really well. As did Rashford, but he just couldn't score today. He left his shooting boots at home, Rashford, but it didn't fall into place for Man United at all, and it just really kind of summed up where the club is at the moment. Just nothing seems to be going right. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong. And obviously, had the VAR decision go against them against Arsenal again today. Things, really just aren't going well. And obviously, on the substitute decision that Ten Hag made, he did, as you say, get a lot of boos for that one. And he was asked about that in his press conference, and he explained that he's not 100% fit. He's not ready to play 90 minutes, Højlund, and that's why he had to bring him off, which is understandable, I guess. But he's bringing on a player in Anthony Martial that has such a limited impact on games now, and it's sad to see, really, with the potential that he showed in the early days of his United career. He doesn't look like he's going to reach those heights at all at this point, and it's sad to see. And I think with Højlund, they have some hope, but there's very little else in terms of an attacking sense for United. Worrying times.
Yeah. Well, it's tough for United, but a great result for Brighton. And you can follow all the coverage on Sussex World, where we have all the player ratings and all the reactions from the United game. And also, we'll be looking ahead to the AEK Athens match, which is at the Amex Stadium on Thursday. So, thanks for joining us, Sam, and have a safe trip back.
Cheers, Derren.